Julie Page. Julie, did you grow up in a cricket environment? Because you certainly played cricket at a very high level. You played first-class cricket. But what about the early days of Julie Werner then, but now Julie Page? Was there a cricket environment?
Not from the start, to be honest, Ian. So it was, my dad came from a very strong volleyball background and my mum from a tennis background, both from different countries outside of Australia. And we initially got into tennis. Soccer was big in Darwin at the time, and then we transitioned into indoor cricket at about age 9 or 10, and that's where that's where the passion for the game started, indoor cricket.
And your dad actually got involved in cricket too, didn't he, as an umpire?
He did, yeah, for many years. He really enjoyed. He's a teacher by trade, and really enjoyed the rules of the game, and understanding the rules and applying those rules. So that was his passion and his way of contributing to the sport that myself and my brothers really enjoyed. So,
as a young lady and with a passion, a developed passion for cricket, tell us about the pathway, the progression, because you did finish up playing first-class cricket, but certainly in South Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
What about as a youngster? I mean, you played against blokes or boys then?
Yeah. So I wish I could say born and bred Territorian, but I had my third birthday up here. We came from Melbourne, and it started for indoor cricket for me. We played 2 seasons, I believe. A very competitive indoor competition at Bishop Street as a junior, and then we, merged like a lot of the cricketers at the time into outdoor cricket, and that's where the relationship and the love for the Waratah Cricket Club started, and played all my junior cricket and senior cricket for that same club.
Was there a light bulb moment where you thought, I can play this game?
Yes, I'm sure there was, but it's hard to.
So there was just a
it's just something we always did. My brothers weren't in the same team as I. They were a couple of years older than I, but it was a kind of a family weekend tradition that we did, and it was getting up early on a Saturday morning, watching a bit of Rage on ABC, and then getting the whites on and jumping off to the local cricket games. So.
And did the young lads feel sorry for you and sort of think, oh, here's a girl playing cricket, what do I do now, how do I bowl to her? Was there any of that?
There was a bit of nervousness, I think, sometimes, especially when I was bowling, if they got out to me. But otherwise, my teammates were very accepting. It wasn't, at that age, it wasn't about gender, really. It was about having fun, learning skills. We had a female coach at the time, and it was just the sport, really. I think maybe for some parents it was a bit odd having one female in the team, but I couldn't really see it, or I didn't see it as a junior playing cricket. Yeah.
How did you get to South Australia?
So it really started with the 1999 primary school boys cricket carnival at the time. So I was good enough in the Territory to make the NT side as the only girl, and then went across to, I'm trying to think, Adelaide or Geelong to play in the National Carnival. And at the time it was, there was no women's cricket for the primary school level. So in this
Is that in the Territory or in Australia?
In Australia, yeah. So I went to this National Carnival as the only female player. So I've always wanted to look back at see who was on the team sheet for New South Wales or Victoria, because I'm confident there'd be some state or Australian players then. But it was something that kind of made a bit of headlines, and also opened up, my eyes to that there is women that do play cricket or play this sport, and they put me in contact with some of those key people in South Australia. So.
And the rest, as they say, is history. What's your fondest memory of first-class cricket? The highlight.
That's a tough one. I played over 100 games for South Australia, so I debuted at about age 16. It was quite early, and finished up in about 2001. So over about 10 years. I took a year off to finish my Year 12 studies, but it's all about kind of premierships or championships, and we made the WNCL final one year. Unfortunately, in Sydney that day, it was a washout and there was no reserve game, so we didn't quite get the chance to, play that final against a very strong New South team. But we had a really good team that season. We had such a strong side with Karen Rolton leading the way, Shelley Nitschke, Jenny Gunn from England, Chris Britt, Emma Sampson. We had a very strong team.
So 100 games for South Australia or thereabouts. When did it all finish and why?
So I had finished early 2000s. I'd finished I'd double degree in engineering and science in Adelaide. I had a chance at the Aussie kind of mix. I'd played for Australia in the under-19, under-23 and had the chance to tour Australia, Sri Lanka, New Zealand. I made some good performances there, was rewarded with an Australian contract.
You actually made the squad, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. So I was in the squad for a year, had a $5,000 contract. Big money back then. And it was a great learning year for me, but I just was never able to put the performances on the board at the state level where, you know, I was a bit of a queen of starts. I had really good starts to games, but I could just never turn 20, 30, 40s into 80s, 90s, 100s. So, and, you know, at that time I'd finished my studies and wanted to return back to Darwin, which I did and still played remotely, based out of Darwin and the support here from NT Cricket and NTIS. But just when I could see I'd missed that opportunity, and, you know, I started a professional career as well, and that's where I made that decision. So,
yeah. Julie, if you had a wand, and I'm talking women's cricket, and this is question without notice, if you had a wand, what would you wish for in terms of women's cricket? Do you want another million women to be involved in the Northern Territory? I'm sure that would be it, but is there any one thing that is holding it back, if I can use that phrase?
I think it's just participation. I think if we could get more women or girls playing the sport in the Territory, that's the wand. That's just a simple request. Give it a go, really. Like, we've seen some really good growth in other female sports up here. I think cricket's close to seeing those numbers too. It's just
and particularly since cricket doesn't clash with AFL, which is the sport that seems to be attracting most of the women.
And that's where Waratah had pretty much a core group of women from the football team come across to, you know, play a bit of cricket. So, and they were going to do the same this year too.
And sort of keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's flexibility that cricket can offer in terms of formats and lengths of time to suit players and demands.
What's your worst moment playing cricket? Any really bad moments? I mean, a horrible over.
I was playing. Yeah. Okay. So bowling 11 wides in an over is certainly up there as one of the worst at a club.
Were you when that happened?
I was an adult and old enough to know to bowl, you know, line and length, but you know how you get one of those moments. So it was just in a club game in SA, and it was my friends remind me of that still, I think.
And so they should 11 wides in an over.
Yeah, yeah. And the other one would have been, the other worst moment was a short run. So when your bat doesn't cross over the line, and the umpire notes that it's a short run. I did that twice to my captain, Karen Rolton, in one game. So,
you didn't go over
I've never done that ever before or after, but I had 2 short runs in one state game.
And a highlight, dare I say it, being selected in the Aussie squad, the women's squad?
Absolutely. Playing an E-grade game against Nycliffe for Waratah Cricket Club with my dad and 2 older brothers. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Playing with my husband, it was, there's some good highlights. Hitting a 6 at the Adelaide Oval, like a proper 6.
Square?
Straight. Always straight. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a fair.
Yeah, I was a very straight player.
Well done.
Cricket's given me so much in terms of friendships. It's given me a husband. I've got a lot to thank.